But we can be able to rebuild a broken economy. We can be able to rebuild a broken business. But we can never be able to rebuild a broken life. And therefore, all we are appealing to our people is that we must be able to work together in observing these containment measures. We're also aware that pain and anguish that COVID-19 brings has visited many of us. We are aware about that. And personally, I am standing in front of you here, and I'm talking on the account of experience. COVID-19 is real. COVID-19 is a very, very bad disease. Many of us who may be lucky perhaps end up getting very mild symptoms, and therefore to those, it may not look a bad thing. But it hits you properly, brothers and sisters. It is such a bad disease. Today, I think all of us here know a person or two, by name, and even friends to us, that have succumbed to COVID-19. Maybe last year, maybe early last year, mid last year, we're just hearing of people. And many people are asking who has passed on or who has been admitted. Now we know them, not just as figures, we know them as friends, our own friends. So brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, let's take these measures seriously. We need to protect ourselves, we need to protect our friends, we need to protect our relatives, we need to protect the entire country. And we cannot do that if we do not observe the containment measures. That we need to wear masks at all times, we need to observe the 1 meter social distance, we need to sanitize as much as possible, and we need to observe these measures that have been put by the government. Matatu, for instance, matatu operators. Please, life is sacred. Do not rush looking for profit. Protect lives today, you'll be able to get your profit tomorrow. And even for our people, please, as much as possible, try not to get onto a matatu that's already broken the 60% rule. Because the capacity of matatu is 60% only. So wait for the next one. Because by waiting for the next one, you may be protecting yourself and protecting your family and your friends as well. And therefore, mine is to just urge each and every one of us to be able to continue spreading the gospel that we need to protect ourselves. We need to observe these containment measures. I wish to end there, and now I want to invite questions for responses. And let's stick it and keep it within the scope of today's briefing. Thank you so much. Anyone? Yes. Asante sana ndugu Wenga. Kwa muktasari tu ni kwamba jana tunakumbuka sote kwamba rais alikuwa ametamka, alikuwa anahutubia nchi nzima kuhusu hili janga la corona. Na tamko lake ni kwamba alikuwa ameweka si vikwazo tu, lakini alikuwa ameongeza sheria za kuzuia usafiri katika counties fulani. Hizo counties zilikuwa ni counties 5 ambazo ni counties za Nakuru, counties za Kiambu, Nairobi, Machakos na Kajiado. Hizi county kulingana na tamko la jana ni kwamba zote ziko katika eneo moja. Kwa hivyo usafiri kutoka Nairobi hadi Kiambu haijasitishwa. usafiri kutoka Machakos hadi Nakuru haijasitishwa, lakini usafiri kuingia katika eneo hizo itakuwa kwa sasa hivi itakuwa imesitishwa hadi nyakati ambazo amri nyingine itakapotolewa. Tunafahamu pia kwa kuna baadhi ya wenzetu ambao kwa njia moja au nyingine walikuwa wamefungiwa wakiwa katika eneo hili la hizo counties 5 ama katika nje ya hizo eneo ile, wanafanya kazi hapa ama wanafanya kazi kule. Kwa busara yake serikali imeamua kupeana dirisha ndogo kwa wale ambao watakuwa wamefungiwa ndani ama nje ya eneo hilo ambalo nimetaja, na dirisha hilo ni hadi kesho kufikia wakati wa curfew, ambapo kufikia Jumapili kesho kila mmoja ambaye atakuwa amefungiwa hapa ndani ama amefungiwa nje awe ameweza kusafiri kuingia ndani ama kutoka nje. Mbele ya hapo basi hautaweza kutoka wala kuingia ndani. Pia tunafahamu kwamba kuna wanafunzi ambao wanafanya mtihani ama ambao shule zimefungwa, hasa wale ambao wako katika universities, na kwa sababu kwamba kusoma ya moja kwa moja imesitishwa na serikali, ni kwamba wanahitaji kusafiri. Sasa hawa wanafunzi ambao wanasafiri kutoka nje ya hilo eneo ama kuja ndani ya hilo eneo wana hadi kesho ya kuweza kusafiri. Pia kuna usafiri wa ndege za ndani, hasa kwa wale ambao tayari wamenunua tiketi za kwao pamoja na SGR, ni kwamba wako na fueni hadi kesho, hadi Jumatatu kufikia mida ya saa 6:30. Kwa hivyo hapo una SGR ticket, kuna ticket ya ndege, unaruhusiwa kulitumia hadi kesho kutwa saa 6:30. Zaidi ya hapo sasa haitawezekana, kwa sababu safari za ndege za ndani hapa pamoja na SGR na gari yote kutoka Nairobi itakuwa imesitishwa. Kwa usafiri wa kutoka nje ama kutoka nje kuingia ndani hazijasitishwa, ila tu kwamba yote ambaye anataka kusafiri kuja Kenya ama kutoka hapa kwenda nchi za nje, ni kwamba kuna taratibu ambao utafuatwa kulingana na maagizo na maelekezo ya COVID. Kwa hivyo kwa wale ambao wanakuja hapa nchini ni kwamba lazima wawe na cheti cha kuonesha kwamba wamejipima corona na wako negative, na cheti hicho iwe ni cheti ambacho kimepatikana masaa yasiyozidi 96 tangu wakati wa kipimo. Tunajua pia kwamba kuna baadhi ya wale watahitaji huduma maalum ya kiafya kutoka maeneo mengine wakija hapa ndani. Kuna wale watatoka labda sehemu za Nyeri wakija hapa kutafuta matibabu maalum kutoka maeneo za Kisii. Sasa hao tunasema kwamba wataangaliwa kulingana na tatizo la mmoja kwa mmoja, wala sio kila mmoja. Kwa hivyo tatizo lako ile liweze kushughulikiwa, ni kwamba itabidi wewe uwe na barua kutoka kwa daktari wako, lakini pia upate barua kutoka kwa polisi ambao kituo cha polisi ambacho kiko karibu na wewe, na wale ambao wako kwenye vizuizi vya kuzuia usafiri watakusikiliza na watakusaidia. Pia tunafahamu kwamba kuna watu wetu ambao kwa bahati mbaya watakuwa wamepoteza maisha, wanapelekwa nje ya eneo hili ili wapewe heshima zao za mwisho. Hao pia ni kwamba watahitajika kupiga ripoti kwa kituo cha polisi mahali ambapo mwili huo upo, na pia wawe na cheti cha kuzika, ile tunaita burial permit. Hapo sasa atasaidiwa kupeleka mwili, ila tu kwamba mwili huo lazima uzikwe kwa masaa isiyozidi 72. Nafikiri ni hayo tulikuwa tumeongea leo. Kama kuna mengine nimesahau, basi nadhani labda kuna moja tu ya mwisho ama mbili, mtaniwia radhi. Tunasema cheti cha kusafiri hasa kwa waandishi wa habari na wengine ambao wako kwenye huduma muhimu. Vyeti hivi kwa sasa hivi tutavitumia, zile passes tuko nazo hadi wiki ijayo, siku ya Jumanne, ambapo vyeti vingine vipya vitatolewa. Na kwa wale ambao wanafanya kazi katika makampuni wakitumia ile njia ya kupishana, wale ambao wanakuja asubuhi na wale wanafika jioni, ni kwamba pia wataendelea kufanya kazi hivyo hivyo ili kwamba uchumi uweze kuendelea. Nadhani ni hayo tulikuwa nimesema. Kwa hivyo na sasa naomba kama kuna swali lolote ama maswali yote nitayajibu.
Don't you think there is a problem with the government's communication? Because time President Kenyatta addresses the nation, there is always a need for clarification.
Let me explain something, and I think something that we need to understand. The president does not need to offer granulated details. He speaks at very high level. Those details must now be filled by us or by me. So I think it's important for us to appreciate the level at which the head of state speaks. So the moment we get to know that, then we begin to appreciate whatever he says. He will not get into details of a roadblock will be here, roadblock will be there, get passes. That is for me. You understand? So the moment you understand that, he talks about broad issues. Then details are meant to be filled by technical people like us. Any other?
My name is Timothy Kipmusu from KBC. My concern is, you talk about for those who will be seeking a specialized treatment. For instance, if somebody maybe has involved in an accident or maybe is in a very critical condition, you talked about going through, getting a referral from a particular facility and at the same time going through the commander. Do you think it will be okay for those who are in critical condition? That time wasting and
But I also did mention that these roadblocks are manned by our people. And they are people that are our brothers and sisters. And they're also rational human beings, right? They can be able to reason. Yes, they are not robots on the road. They are human beings that will be able to know that this is an emergency that needs to be addressed this way, right? So like I did mention that these regulations are not meant in any way to make life difficult for us. They are meant really to contain the spread of this disease only. And we understand too that there will be inconveniences, there will be disruptions, right? But it is a price, a small price to pay so that we can be well and be able to get back into our normal lifestyle, without which some of us will not be there to see tomorrow. And we need all of us to be there to see tomorrow. Tomorrow does not mean Sunday. It could mean 2022. But there are things we must be able to do today for us to be able to see tomorrow. And those things are part of what I have been talking about here.
Maybe I would like to know which special plans will the government have on those who are writing exams right now, because we know in the next few weeks from now, some tenders will be done. For example, someone studying at Banana School, which is under Nairobi, will be now locked by that time, and would like to move to Nakuru. Is there any plan from the government of reviewing those measures? Because from President's speech yesterday, he said until further notice. So maybe you can.
The head of state did not say until further notice. He did mention that he is aware that we have students who are taking their exams. He talked about that. So if the head of state talks about him being aware that there are students who are taking exams, certainly there are measures that have been put in place to ensure that as soon as they complete the exams, they will be facilitated to get back to their homes. So yes, there are plans to be able to take care of that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. My name is Thomas Mpoya from Reuters News. I'd like to know what support the government is going to give the families of those people who, by bad luck, pass away from the COVID being a very expensive disease, because you have 72 hours to bury your loved ones. And if the bill is so high and you have 72 hours, what will happen? And there's also a follow-up. Does this 72-hour rule also apply to these countries outside the 5 counties?
72 hours apply to every county. All the 47 counties, 72 hours apply to them. Remember, he also did mention that we must continue also to observe the measures that he did talk about on 12th of March. Is it 12th of March? I think then, yes. He did talk about that those measures also apply. And among them that he did talk about was the 72-hour period within which we are supposed to have laid to rest some of our people who would have succumbed. It doesn't have to be COVID. It doesn't have to be COVID. It could be an accident. It could be other diseases. But they must be laid to rest within 72 hours, right? As to whether the government will be able to fund, those who are going to take their loved ones to, say, the farthest part from Nairobi would be Turkana, yeah? Let's just say that. Now, we have a choice, really. This is our loved one. We must be able to, very quickly, if the cost of taking the body back there would be high, we must be able, as a people, this is one of our own, to be able to contribute, to help out. We have been known to be very, very, understanding society. We have been very supportive of brothers and sisters that, that kind of a situation, and we'll always stand by one another. And therefore, should there be anyone who has got a relative who needs to be taken to the farthest most part of this country to be buried there or to be laid to rest there, then we must be able to come out and support that person, right? Well, the other end, or the other side of it is that, which perhaps may not be agreeable to many cultures, there are those who wish to just take somebody to the nearby cemetery. But for those whose cultures do not allow them to do that, then we must all come together and support such families. Yes.
You say the president is aware that there are students who might be sitting their exams for them for purposes of planning, because parents are now worried as the children may be locked out in the zone area. May it please you that you give us these details.
Let me just say, they don't have to be worried at all, because the Ministry of Education, together with the Ministry of Interior and Coordination of Government, have got an elaborate plan to ensure that all those students who are currently sitting for exams will be facilitated to get back home safely. So that is the message I wanted to pass to the parents, that they should not worry at all, because the government is aware about what they are currently going through, what they are doing right now, and as soon as they complete exams, they will be facilitated to get back home. Between, of course, the Ministry of Education, the school itself, and the Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government.
My name is Thomas Nkara from Ebro TV. I would like to ask this question because last time, I think one year or the other, the government made a mistake, which I need a clarification. When you go to a police commander, is it allowed for the police commander to get something small from the common mwananchi in terms of cash, so that you can get that letter, or from the chiefs? Is it, you give a directive? Because if I have a problem, I go to a police commander to get assistance, and I pay as a Kenyan, I think it is not right. What's your take on that?
I've always insisted that our police are among the best police forces in the world. They are among the best. They provide us security, sometimes under very difficult circumstances, and even conditions. They do. They are on the beat at night when the rest of us are sleeping. They are providing a service to us, for us to be able to undergo our day-to-day activities uninterrupted. So we must be able also to celebrate that, to talk about that. Occasionally, and I'm using the word very occasionally, there would be one in, let's say, 100, maybe even 20,000 police officers, one who may be asking something. It does not mean that the entire police force will be asking something. So it is important, ladies and gentlemen, not to generalize. There are many, many good police officers that we know, and majority of them are people who are related to us, and they're doing a brilliant job. So let's also be able sometimes to appreciate them, to congratulate them for what they are doing. Right? So if once in a while one person asks for something, let's not generalize. That case should be handled on its own merit as a case on its own. And such person should be reported and action shall be taken. Remember, taking a bribe is a crime, but also giving a bribe is a crime. So it takes two to do what? To tango.
What people would like to know, are there specific instructions that the government has issued to the police officers? Are we going to see people being beaten up with measures? And also when it comes to interpreting the measures that they put in place, because there are those who feel maybe police best decide, okay, this program is starting from where. There are specific instructions that police are aware that they have been given moving forward as they enforce these measures.
You know, let's also have respect for our police commanders and police force. Obviously, nobody will be able to go out for an operation without briefing. And I remember one time that the IG himself was actually giving out details of what happens every single day, that before they are deployed, the policemen are briefed on how the operation for that day will be proceeding. So they are always briefed. And like I said earlier on, these are our brothers and sisters, honestly. They are not necessarily robots on the road. Right? They are not. They are people who are rational, who think, and will be able to make very good decisions based on certain circumstances that present themselves before them. And they have done that many times. All right? So you will not find a police officer coming out of his house, wherever he is staying, and going to a roadblock or going for an operation. They will always go back to the station, and they go back there for briefing. They come out in the evening, go back to the station for debriefing. So this is an organized police force, very professional. Any other? Maybe the last one.
I just want to know, it is in the public domain that these international flights are the one who brought Corona in Kenya, and why give them priority over domestic flights?
You know, again, it is important for us to look at things very broadly and, understand where such decisions are supposed to be leading to. We must continue to grow our economy. Our economy is based on export and imports. And we use several routes to be able to export and import. One of the routes is what? Air. The other one is by sea or by water. So even in the early days, when we introduced these control measures or containment measures, well, we suspended air travel, but we never suspended sea travel, all right? So we must continue to have our economy, to keep our economy growing, despite of the challenges that we're facing on the account of Corona. And therefore, keeping international flights open. Remember, the Kenyans also want to fly out for other, activities. So we must be able to be cognizant of that. The Kenyans who are employed out of the country who must fly back. Our economy depends a lot on tourism, that also we need to have them here. For as long as they have been able to obtain the COVID-19 negative certificate. So there are measures that have been put in place, all right? Now, for domestic flights, remember, we are ensuring that in this zoned area, the zoned area that accounts for more than 50% of all infections, that there is no movement in and out of the zoned area. Now, domestic flights have not been suspended from Mombasa to Garissa, but they have been suspended in and out of the zoned area. I hope that one is clear, right? So that we deal with the situation here, because this is apparently appears to be the nucleus where this pandemic is emanating from. So if we are able to control Nairobi, Kajiado, Machakos, Kiambu, and Nakuru, we may largely have managed to reduce our positivity rate. I hope that one is clear. Maybe the last one.
Can a COVID, sorry, Thomas and Reuters, can a COVID negative certificate allow somebody to travel outside the zone of the 5 countries?
That's what you were saying. That for people who are coming in from outside, they must be able to obtain a COVID-19 negative certificate, all right? But when they come here, who are not tourists, they must stay here. If they come to Nairobi, they stay in Nairobi. If they come to Nairobi and they want to go to Machakos, they stay in Machakos. That is the position, right? Any other? So they cannot be allowed to come to Nairobi and then they want to travel to Kiambu, Nakuru, then Eldoret. No. They can come to Nairobi, travel to Kiambu, travel to Kajiado, travel to Machakos, and back to Nairobi. That is okay. Yeah. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we should be doing this very, very soon so that we can continue to have our people. Yes, there's another one, a last one. Maybe a burning one, is it?
Yes.
It is burning really, really bad?
Yes, of course, sir.
Okay.
So Daniel Masisa from TV47. Yeah, we have got, it is about the curfew hours. They have been revised to 8 p.m. You understand that that means that we will have an overload of activities during daytime. It means that by 8, as you understand, for example, Nairobi, there will be traffic, whatever. So it means that we will have a lot of people still stuck in the jam. What are you going to do about that? Then we have got emergency cases, of course. Someone can get sick at night. We need to rush them to hospitals. What is the government doing to be able to deal with that one? Because we don't want cases whereby people are being whipped by the police in the street, maybe because of curfew hours are nearing.
You know, curfew hours start from 8 for the zoned area. For the other areas, start at 10. For the zoned area, by 8 p.m., you must be home. There is no two-way about that. So wewe jipange. There is no two-way about this. And ladies and gentlemen, these things are meant to protect us. Let's not find impediments on them. Let's find a way of how we can be able to get home by 8 o'clock. It is for our own good. Now, for anybody who may get unwell at night, and there will be, because that is the nature of life, people will get sick at night, and they have gotten sick at night before, even during, when curfew in this zone area was still starting at 10. They were getting sick beyond 10 o'clock, and they were going to hospital, and they were being attended to. There is no difference between then and now. Sawa? Okay. So thank you very much. We'll be able to do this again, and we'll be able to invite you. And as I keep on saying, we at the government and you at the Fourth Estate, we must consistently be working together because our roles are more or less the same. We have got stakeholders, we have audiences that we must continue to inform. As government, we have the information, but we don't have the voice. You members of the Fourth Estate, you have the voice, but you don't have the information. And therefore, you must consistently continue to nurture this symbiotic relationship between the government and the Fourth Estate. So for today, thank you so much, and then we meet you again in not so long distant future. So thank you.